Hi, everybody. It's Lynn Dempsey. In April, the Southeastern Fastener and the Southwest Fastener Associations held a joint conference and a tabletop show in New Orleans. And by all accounts, the event was a great success. We weren't allowed to bring our microphones into the karaoke bar where some of the real action took place, but our friend Baer in Yarborough of Spring Nut and Bolt captured some comments from the show floor. This is Baron's first appearance as an FTR roving reporter, and he did a great job. So everyone, here's Baron.
I'm here with
Jeff Baird,
Ed Harper,
and y'all are with
Intercorp.
So how's the show going for y'all?
Great. Good turnout. Lots of good people.
Have y'all been here for the entire conference or just today?
Just the show itself.
Okay. Y'all staying tonight?
No, sir. Heading back.
So no Bourbon Street.
Had enough of Bourbon Street. Had a little taste, had a good time, ready to go home.
Someone sounds hungover. No, I'm just kidding with you, bud.
Good times.
Good times.
Good people, man. Good times, good people.
Rosa Hearn, President of Women in the Fastener Industry.
Pam Barry of Advanced Components.
And we are here working the Wi-Fi booth for the SEFA SFA show.
And having a wonderful time.
So how's the show going for y'all?
It's great. It's a great turnout. I'm surprised of the women that came to support us, so it's fantastic. And we're giving out prizes and selling T-shirts.
And that's always good. Now, for those of you who don't know, you're Rosa the Riveter. Yeah, let's get that straight. Make sure there's no confusion. So, I know you were at the panel. You were on the panel discussion. So, what was your favorite part of being on a panel discussion?
Being the only woman on a panel was probably my favorite part. The best part of the discussion was just learning a lot about business practices in the industry.
And it was a great panel discussion. I took a whole lot out of it, a whole lot of good stuff covered in it. And I think that's going to be it for this one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank y'all. I'm here with
Trisha Dyer with All America Threaded Products.
So how's the show going for you?
It's going well.
Awesome. So have you had fun on Bourbon Street yet?
Of course.
Short and sweet answers. I like that.
We'll leave it at that.
Leaving it at that. Okay.
Matt Roberts from WJ Roberts Company.
Awesome. So how's the show been for you?
Showing pretty good. Things are people are sticking around, wrapping up a little bit here at the end. It was a decent show though. Plenty of people coming by the booth. Got some good leads.
Awesome. Now you're involved with a couple different associations.
Yeah, I'm on the board with the New England Fastener Distributors Association and the Young Fastener Professionals.
Oh, what a coincidence. So am I. But you're also involved with Southeast and Southwest, or?
Yeah, the company that I'm here with, WJ Roberts, is a member of both Southeast and Southwestern Fastener Associations.
So we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of you at all these Fastener events.
Yeah, we're trying to get back out there. Try to get our name back out in the smaller markets.
Sounds awesome.
Heidi Voltrauer with Volt Industrial Plastics. I think it's been a great show. I always love these tabletop shows. You get to really network and spend some quality time getting to know people.
So how do you think these compare to like the national shows versus the regional shows like this one?
I think the national shows are great. I just feel like for our company, Volt, that you have that time, that face-to-face time with someone and really get to know them, and they get to know you and really get to know your company better when you have more time. But I think the bigger shows are great because you have a bigger audience, you have more attendees coming through. So I think they both have pros and cons.
So more relationships or deeper relationships,
Exactly.
Both are good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like quality.
Okay. So you've been here for a couple of the conference events besides the tabletop. What was your favorite?
Well, I thought the panel discussion was really great, just getting a perspective from other people in the industry, and they all had different roles in their company. So getting those different perspectives I thought was helpful, and also you can kind of relate to what they're talking about. I thought it was very interesting. I didn't fall asleep. I was in the very back. I stayed awake the whole time.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
So have you been out to Bourbon Street yet?
Yes, I have been out to Bourbon Street. It's a little scary but fun, I would say.
Scary but fun.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at Bourbon Street. I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Too scary and too fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. This is predominantly fastener-related talk radio for purveyors of fasteners and related threaded products all across North America and beyond. So if you buy, sell, manufacture, distribute fasteners, this is the podcast for you. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Eric Dudas here, and I'm joined, as always, by the co-pilot of Fully Threaded. He's Brian Musker. Brian, you doing all right?
I am. I'm just trying to work out the purveyors bit, okay? A little more suited to England than the United States, I think. Purveyors.
I think it's a perfectly acceptable term, Brian.
Okay, right. We'll be talking about the English version of a custom-fitted suit, because they'd never say custom, they'd say bespoke. It's their word for that.
And how do you dress, sir?
Yeah, right.
We won't go into that.
We're not going to answer that one, okay.
But we will speak to lots of other great issues on this episode, which is episode number 116, and we're publishing this time on May 12th, 2017. The feature segment today is a conversation with two California kids. They're the brothers who operate R&D Fasteners out there in Rancho Cucamonga, Chris and Ryan McCaffrey.
And I'll be very happy that you call them kids, I think, okay?
California kids, yeah. It's just
okay.
Something catchy about that, but we'll get to know them a little bit and their business and, of course, their perspective on the fastener industry. We'll also be speaking with Bob G.Q. Baer. He's the president of the MWFA, and Marty Nolan, chairman of the Fastener Industry Coalition. They're going to preview the big Fastener Summit that's happening in connection with Fastener Tech in June. They've also got a few miscellaneous comments that I'm sure everyone will find interesting. Plus, fans of hydrogen embrittlement won't want to miss today's Fastener Training Minute with Carmen Vertullo. He knocks down the top 10 things you need to know about this scourge of the industry. He just completed a training course dedicated to the topic. That's coming up as well. Plus, the Fastener News Report. This time, Mike McNulty welcomes analyst Dave Manthey. They'll run down the Fastener Distributor Index numbers, which just came in. Another bunch of surprises in that report this time, Brian.
Right. Yeah, a little bit like a seesaw, we might say.
Yeah, it's getting exciting, you know, when you're teetering on the edge of greatness, and then the road turns.
Yeah. In the depths of despair the next minute.
Well, as you'll hear during this conversation, there's no need for despair.
Good.
But it's all coming your way, and of course that's due to the participation of our fantastic lineup of sponsors. Bryce, shout them out.
The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Steadfast and the Lindstrom family of companies, including Titan Fasteners. Steadfast, for service you deserve and people you trust. And the Lindstrom family of companies, Lindstrom, by any measure. Also sponsoring Fully Threaded Radio are 3Q USA-made fasteners, Buckeye Fasteners, Fastener Fair Mexico, InSequel Software, the National Industrial and Mill Supply Expo, the Worth Group, Endy Industries, Fastenal, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Solution Industries. I'm a solution man. So thanks to all of you. Thanks for continuing support and the support of Fully Threaded Radio. We appreciate it a lot.
Let them know, folks, that you appreciate their support of the podcast. They truly are an outstanding group, and, they bring you the podcast in a very real way.
Yeah.
We look forward to hearing from you anytime, everybody. Get with us via email. That's ftr@fullythreaded.com. And we're also out on Twitter occasionally, where the handle is Fully Threaded. We have an announcement to make that's very exciting. We're very happy about it. We've just finalized arrangements with the Fastener Training Institute. And once again, we'll be sponsoring the Fastener Training Week Scholarship Essay Contest. This is the third year, and folks who take that course are eligible to sit for the Certified Fastener Professional Test. That's definitely a credential that goes a long way in this industry. And what's a 250 or 300 word essay to get your name in the hat for that one?
Right. So you've got to explain why this is going to be good for you in your future. And Lynn and Sue will be, as usual, reviewing all the people who write in and working out which really is the one that is the best one. Eric and I sit and we're out of this one, okay?
Well, we manage the submissions as they come in and try and promote it as much as possible. We had a really excellent group of entries last year, and a cool thing is that even if you don't win the grand prize, you'll still be entitled to attend one of FTI's webinars. You can go out to their website at fastenertraining.org and see the whole list of webinars, and you can cash that voucher in anytime you want to. So it's a great consolation prize, and of course you should be going for the gold because that certified fastener professional.
It's absolutely worth taking the time to sit and write a good essay, okay?
100%. We'll have a press release coming out about this in the very near future, and the deadline for the essays is going to be September 30th, so you've got a little time, but don't put it off.
Yeah.
On the subject of Fastener Training Institute, those of you who are heading out to Fastener Tech 17, FTI will be holding a course entitled, what is it here? Why Fasteners Fail. That'll be on June 5th. So if you're heading out to Rosemont for the Fastener Tech, look that up. I think there's still seats available. Might as well jam that in too. Get the most out of your visit.
Right, so you're giving a little, like a comparison discussion about hydrogen embrittlement. I mean, this is, after all, your favorite subject.
Well, I think Carmen Vertullo's got that area covered, fortunately.
But he might need a little bit of backup help from you.
Yeah, dream on.
Okay.
And folks, I know you're dying to get to that part of the podcast, so we're not going to hold it up anymore. We'll be back to put a wrench to this one right after these words from our sponsors.
Talk radio for the fastener industry. It's not really all that bad for the most part. Brian and Eric, fully threaded radio.
You probably know that Lindstrom is an industry leader in metric fasteners. And there's a good chance you know we recently expanded to provide a wide range of high-grade inch fasteners. But what you probably don't know is that Lindstrom has made a serious commitment to earn your socket business. How serious? Well, let's start with 11,000 products. Announcing Lindstrom's expanded line of socket products, including socket head cap screws, flat head socket cap screws, button head socket cap screws, socket shoulder screws, and more. Plain, plated, or patched, in a full range of inch and metric sizes. Special lengths and thread pitches available through in-house fabrication. Always packed to your specification. Lindstrom. Flexibility, choice, and value at every turn. Here for everything distributors need. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded line of socket products, visit LindstromSockets.com. Lindstrom, by any measure. To speak with a sales representative, call 1-800-328-2430.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stelfast. Since 1976, Stelfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stelfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stelfast today through our website at www.stelfast.com and put us to work for you. Stelfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Are you tired of empty promises from software vendors? Are you paying for support that you're not receiving? Is it time for another paid upgrade? There is a solution. InSequel delivers quality software designed for the fastener industry at an affordable price with industry-leading support. Unlike other software companies, with InSequel, you purchase your software once. There will never be a paid upgrade. If you need assistance with anything, InSequel is there to help. When you call, you will always speak with a real person offering you quick and knowledgeable answers to your questions. Can your current provider say this? Quality software, affordable pricing, industry-leading support. Only InSequel can deliver all three. So why settle? Call InSequel Software at 877-446-9775 or visit www.inxsql.com.
I know my customers' yearly usage, but I don't have the warehouse space to store it.
Solution Man can. Submit a blanket order, and I'll not only set up release dates, I'll offer you bulk pricing too. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
You're my fastener superhero.
Just doing my job, ma'am.
Hi, this is Mark Klossick with Vertex Distribution. I'm here at the Fastener Show in Chicago, and I listen to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you in the online Fastener Squawk Box, Fully Threaded. Hey, Bri, I was scanning LinkedIn the other day, saw this fly by from Preston Boyd. He's VP over there at Tramec.
Okay.
And he's also the chairman of the IFI. And he says, proud to be a participant in the IFI Washington fly-in to meet Congress on behalf of the fastener industry. Over 42,000 Americans are employed at U.S. fastener manufacturing facilities across the country. The fastener industry is critical to all segments of our base, including the defense industry and national security.
It's hard to think of an industry that is not affected by the fastener industry or doesn't rely on it deeply. I suppose plastic toys would be one of them, but I don't think they make any of those in the US anymore. I think everything's held together with something.
Yeah, and plastic worms. But other than that, pretty much everything.
Right, yeah. And musky lures. Okay, very few screws in those these days.
Well, but there still are.
I know, in the old ones.
Yeah, the eye screws. What do you call those, Bri?
That would do. It'll work.
Eye screw?
Yeah, well, they don't really use those things now. They pull out of the wood, and they're all plastic. You're thinking of things that were in your tackle box when you were like 12 years old.
Yeah, I've still got some of the old ones. Well, in any case, aside from all that,
yeah.
See, folks, we've got a big responsibility on our hands in this industry, and I know most of you are up to the task. I know you don't hang out on Twitter at all, Bri, or very much. Let's say you're a lurker, but do you scan LinkedIn ever these days, or do you not bother with that either?
Oh, I scan it. Yeah, I mean, it's yet another password I have to remember. But I do. My view is that LinkedIn is very useful if you are, I guess, younger, and chances are you need to keep your network of business acquaintances up in case you need to find another job. I mean, it's very, very, very useful. That's not quite the world I'm in at the moment, okay?
Yeah, I mainly scan it just to see if you're looking for a new job, you know. I don't
know. That's why I never put that stuff on LinkedIn, okay? Yeah. You got to be careful.
Yeah. Well, I didn't necessarily want to go off on a jag about LinkedIn, but yeah, I pay attention to it, and there's frequently good info out there. We're going to have to invite Preston Boyd onto the podcast. I'd like to know exactly how they're interfacing with Congress, what they're doing. You know, years back, the Fastener Quality Act was in the headlines all over the place, and that was actually the original origins of the newly reconstituted Fastener Industry Coalition. So it would be good to have him to tell us all about what's going on. I'll call him.
Yeah. Who are the Congress people they talk to? I mean, that would be interesting for us to know too.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't say here in this blurb, but they were out there.
Maybe it's changing minute by minute.
Yep. Well, every 2 years we have an opportunity for a bloodbath, so.
All right.
We'll be speaking with Marty Nolan, who's the chairman of the FIC, in just a minute, along with Bob GQ Baer. Before we get to that, though, I'd like to remind everybody, coming up June 20th and 21st, if you do business in South or Central America, or you're thinking about it, you don't want to miss Fastener Fair Mexico. There's still time to get yourself signed up for that. The website for details is fastenerfair.com/Mexico. I know a handful of people that I talk to are heading down that way.
And I think Rosa the Riveter is certainly going down there, and she'll be providing you special lessons in Spanish just to help you meet the people there.
Yes, she's a reliable reporter on that show. Also want to remind you folks that we're the people who bring you the FCH Sourcing Network. It's a huge online resource for you if you're ever looking for a hard-to-find fastener, a fill-in, or you need a new vendor for a part. It's a great source of information for you. Something like 1.5 million listings as of this moment. It changes all the time, but boy, there's a lot of inventory out there. The website is fastenersclearinghouse.com. That's fasteners with an S, and the S is for skateboard this time.
Oh, okay. Skateboards and scrubbers. Okay, not sure. Right.
It doesn't connect anything in the show thus far discussed, but you'll get what we mean in a few minutes, everybody.
Right.
FastenersClearinghouse.com. We'd appreciate it if you'd get out there. Now it's time to invite two perennial guests on the podcast. From Abbott Interfast and the MWFA, it's Bob Baer. And from RL English, Marty Nolan. Hey guys, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Thanks for having us back. It's always a pleasure to be on the show with you guys.
Thank you. Oh, you don't need to say things like that.
I'm softening you up a little bit.
I can tell.
It's written right here on the paper. Say this now. I just following directions.
Oh, Eric gave you that sheet. Oh, I didn't realize he'd given you that one.
Yeah.
You're screwing it up again, Brian. Seems like when we're in the Midwest here, Chicago or Cleveland, we're always running into you, but most recently we saw you out there in Long Beach. It was great of you to make it out to the Pac West and NFDA event, and there were several other Midwest people, Rich Cavoto, Jackie, a bunch of other folks out there. That was very cool.
It certainly is nice to get around the country and see other people in the industry outside of Vegas, the traditional big get-together, and it was a nice event. Enjoyed seeing everybody, and hope that those West Coast people will reciprocate and come our way this June.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I thought it was a very good event. A lot of attendees. Well worth the trip.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk a little bit more about our big event coming up here in June, which is Fastener Tech. But I agree with you guys. One thing that strikes me when I travel the country and go to the various association meetings is, as different as the crowds are, lots of the issues remain the same. In other words, one of the hot topics in the conference was supply chain issues. And you've got people all across the country in our business, they're all scratching their heads on the same thing. And it's been like that for years, It seems like we all share some of the same concerns, questions, and it's always good to meld in those events. Yeah, it is, Eric. Wow, that was a great comment.
Okay, yeah. Marty, you and I got the timing down here, I guess. I'm being polite and let him go first. He's being polite and let me go first, and nobody's talking.
What have you been up to over there at MWFA, Bob?
Well, the MWFA is always busy, and you talk about meetings and sharing topics and issues across the country, and we do all have the same issues because we're in the same industry, and the MWFA is constantly striving to put content out to our members that's relevant and current and takes care of some of those industry issues, but it becomes increasingly difficult to plan events that are relevant, and sometimes you see some of the topics over and over, and we do borrow from each other, associations. If somebody has a good topic, we sure want to present it to our members, and by the same token, when we run across something new, we're happy to share that, and a lot of that, I think, is the whole premise behind what has become one of the missions of the Fastener Industry Coalition, and we'll talk about that later, is sharing across associations. But we've been pretty busy. We had a couple of really good meetings. In February, we had William Strauss, the Chicago Federal Reserve representative, back out for our joint meeting with the Chicago Midwest chapter of the Surface Finishers. I think it's National Association of Surface Finishers. That's a mouthful to say. And speaking of mouthfuls, Bill had an awful lot to say about the past few years, and we were really hoping to get some inside info on Trump administration and what might happen, but unfortunately the Fed is not in the business of predicting. But they are in the business of telling you what has happened, and while there were no predictions or policy changes noted, they normally don't talk about that, but they definitely had some comments regarding the uncertainty of the upcoming Trump administration and what impact that might have on the economy going forward.
Right. Well, all you got to do is look at wall-to-wall Goldman Sachs up there still, so the swamp hasn't been drained, so that's a big clue.
Right. But it was a well-tended event. We had 90-plus people there, and like always, Bill does a great job of presenting and talking and engaging the audience, so we were very happy with that event.
One of the things I like about having Bill Strauss up there is because he's not just an operator over at the Fed, but he's also actually a professor, an adjunct with DePaul, I believe, too. So he makes it understandable for lay people as much as you can understand monetary policy.
Yeah, that's correct. He teaches, I think, actually teaches at a couple colleges, and so he's very good at putting things in terms that we can all understand. By the same token, it crams his schedule up a little bit, so he's not as accessible as he used to be. Let's see, in March, actually, we had our annual meeting in Milwaukee, and this was a fresh topic. It was very timely with so many businesses moving to the cloud and increasing their presence on the web, social media, e-commerce, etc. We had Byron France of the FBI out to talk to our group about cyber theft. And a very interesting seminar. It's kind of scary if you look into the amount of theft that goes on via the internet. And then we're not just talking about hacking websites and hacking bank accounts, and we're talking all the way down to technology and intellectual secrets and blueprints, and it's amazing. Needless to say, China and Russia came up quite a bit during the conversation.
Yeah, I really wanted to go to that one, and we had something else on it that day, which is really a pity. It's a subject near and dear to anyone who's running a computer site and is trying to protect their people's information, their members' information. Mm-hmm. It's tough.
Yeah, I got to say, I don't have much in the way of intellectual property out there, but every time I log into my brokerage account, I'm amazed there's any money in it. I just don't get how that works. I mean,
well, it's pretty funny when you're in a seminar and people have their phones and their laptops, and you got to a point where you discuss how you can be sitting at your desk and they're literally watching you through your own camera, even though it doesn't show on.
Yeah.
And recommended everybody tape their cameras off when they're not using them. And people are looking at their cell phones going, are they watching me right now? I wonder. It was interesting. We have, there are a few pictures in the Midwest, MWFA.net on our photo gallery from the event. And I believe we screenshot Byron's pretty much outlined like a 30-step program to beat cyber theft. We screenshotted it, and it's up on our website. So if you did miss it and you're listening, and I know most of you listen to the podcast on a regular basis, by all means, go to our website and look at those photos. There's a screenshot outline of his program, things to do. Probably worthwhile.
Very good advice. Okay. I will be doing that, I can tell you.
You know, you made a comment about more and more fastener companies moving out to the cloud, and just throwing a question out here to the group. Do you see that? And the reason I ask is because I know, it was 3-4 years back, NetSuite was making a big play into fastener distribution. They had a couple different flavors branded for our business, and I just didn't think they really made a big dent in the market. You know, we've got a handful of ERPs that everyone seems to use, and the cloud-based ones just don't seem like they're on the fastener industry's radar yet.
I have We recently upgraded our computer system and put a little plug-in for them, I suppose. Denny Cowie's Business Edge system is what we use. And we thought about going to the cloud, and ultimately, like you say, there's a few big people out there that everyone seems to use, and we wound up migrating to one of them. And when we evaluated it, by the time we got done, we decided to keep our own server in-house for that sort of stuff. We did migrate some of the other stuff out to the cloud, but this is an area that I know probably just enough to be dangerous in, and I'm not well versed enough to talk and advise people on it. We had a lot of discussion back and forth before we decided against it. Personally, I have my brother's ex-Navy and in the family, and he preaches to me all the time about trust issues. And so, personally, I don't trust the cloud. I wouldn't put my information out there. It might be old school, but I know a lot of people do, a lot of companies do, and of course, that's why we have seminars like cyber theft these days.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Well, I'm not advocating one way or the other, but I think you're 100% correct. That is the prevailing attitude within the industry right now. Is people just don't trust it with data. They just don't see a convincing reason to put all their enterprise data on the cloud when their in-house servers seem to be doing a good job. That's just the way I'm seeing it.
Yeah, one of the issues is if you have an in-house server, obviously you need the staff to take care of it, maintain it, or have an outside consultant come in and do it on a regular basis. And so some of the mindset these days is to get away from that. You know, you don't have to hire an IT guy or a hardware guy. You put it all out in the cloud and they take care of it for you. And there's some merit to that if it was, you know, if you can trust it and it was foolproof. But I don't think China is focusing on coming into Abbott's interfaces or to MWFA's website right now. There's bigger fish to fry than us out there, I'm sure.
You never know.
If that's something they were actually doing, and again, you know, there's so much speculation out there, but
well, look, you can't tell. We have like 6 different servers, and 2 of them sit idle, just waiting, just in case something goes wrong. The Chinese hacked into one of our idle servers, last year. And I didn't realize, I wouldn't know because we don't have, it was sitting totally idle as far as I was concerned. Turned out that the company called Tencent, which is what the teenagers in China use to send pictures of themselves to each other on, was using our server and worked out how to hack into it to use it as a relay server. 50,000 emails an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
At this point, I'd like to say hello to all our listeners in Beijing.
Right. Yes. And thank you for hacking into our servers.
Of which there are numerous. We're not putting the blame on the whole country, folks. But, but we're just telling you like it is.
Right. So this is sort of you sort of think you can be complacent, and all of a sudden you wake up and realize what's going on with the server. Okay. I mean, if we'd been using it, we would have known, because the performance would have been degraded, but it was just sitting as like an emergency auxiliary server, and someone worked out how to hack into it.
It was an emergency auxiliary server to someone, just not you guys.
Yeah. Right.
Would have been really funny had they sent you an email, asked you to upgrade your software because your server's too slow for them.
My server's slowing down, yeah. It was very funny when we finally worked out how they'd got into it and closed that out. And it was, I guess left over from older days, and there was some port that was left open that was closed on all our main servers. I don't know how they find these things.
Well, Brian, all I could say is you better get it out to mwfa.net, take a look at those slides, and maybe that'll prevent it happening in the future. Fastener Tech's coming up, and both of you guys are super involved in that. That's going to be a huge event. Of course, that's the biggest event in North America outside the Vegas show. And Bob, you're the president of MWFA. Of course, Fastener Technology are the partners on that show with you. And about ready to pull the plug on this one?
We are. We're really excited. What a lineup this year. Between Nancy and the guys out at Fastener Tech, putting this thing together, and our own Fastener Tech committee that does this planning for the upcoming every other year. Everyone's been working very hard on it, promoting it. We're getting some local I don't want to call it a postcard, but like poster boards out to the local companies, trying to get them to post it in the unusual places, not just in the office, but in the warehouse and the manufacturing plants, and try and get people out to this show, because it really is an educational show above and beyond the sourcing and the networking and everything else. The show just becomes so much more. And with this year's lineup, I mean, we start on Monday and we have some seminars, Why Fasteners Failed, presented by FTI Training Institute. On Monday, that goes from 8:30 to 4:30. It's an all-day seminar. And those guys are just super instructors and really smart guys. If I had the time myself, I would attend that thing. Tuesday, the show opens from 10 to 5, and also during the day, Tuesday, we have some couple other educational seminars put on by Spiral and Fastener Technology International, followed by a happy hour in the Technology Center from 4 to 5, and then, of course, the famous all-industry reception, also known as the Fastener Bash, Tuesday night from 5 to 7. That's just a packed day from morning till night.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
and even though the reception is from 5 to 7, I can tell you, and Marty could probably attest to this, it will go on well into the night.
Oh, yeah, the bash is only a warm-up. We know that, Bob.
Yeah, it's funny how our industry is just famous for drinking and liquor, to the point that if I recall last year, the Emerald Exposition people were really, really concerned about how they were going to take care of that. and
I wouldn't call it they were concerned, but they observed the fact, and they made note of it publicly, that was something they noticed about our group.
Yeah. Well, we have some uniqueness to us, I suppose. There are worse habits to have. Wednesday, the show is kind of reduced. It's from 9 to 1 is a good stretch still, but starting at 1 o'clock, we're really excited about having the Fastener Summit. First one presented by the Coalition, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Let me get through the rest of this schedule here. On Thursday is the industry's largest golf outing, the Midwest Fastener Association golf outing, held at Chevy Chase this year in Wheeling, Illinois, not far from Rosemont at all. And that starts 10:30 in the morning with registration, a chipping contest. We'll have lunch between 11 and 12, and then shotgun start at noon, followed by golf. And generally, we will sell that out. So those of you listening, if you haven't got your reservation in, being the tail end of this 4-day event, it's going to sell out, so I recommend that you get your foursomes before it's too late.
Hear that, Bry?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of all the other very good golfers.
We know.
Right.
Yeah, we have some very good sponsorship, and so there's going to be some really unique prizes this year at the golf outing, some different stuff. In fact, I know a couple of prizes that we normally don't have are going to be on a couple of par 3 holes. I don't want to give away the surprises now on the podcast, but it'll be news already by the time the podcast breaks. But it's always a fun event. The golf event's always fun.
Well, you can certainly count, Bob, on the fully threaded 30-pack of Busch Light Award going off to the best mulligan of the day. That's kind of become a tradition.
I'm going to put that down. I don't know why we don't have that on our sheet, but it sounds like it should be on there for sure.
Of course it should. And that, of course, comes with an attractive, fully threaded baseball cap, which is suitable for golfing. So,
yeah.
If you can't aim high, you got to aim low, right?
I just got a text from Nancy Rich. I think that announcement just sold out the event. I'm pretty sure. Bob can verify that.
Yeah, the hats are sought after, I can tell you.
That is the Busch Light.
The golf scores are going to come in awfully low this year as a result.
People are actually going to count their strokes this year? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, that's a really good combination in our industry. People drink and then they have to count strokes. You wonder why the scores come in the way they do.
Well, let's rewind then and talk a little bit more about the Fastener Industry Coalition Summit, because that's been something that's been a long time coming, and you've got a really, really high-end lineup of presenters for this.
Yeah, and aren't we lucky to have Marty Nolan on the line? He's the chair of the coalition, so I'm going to let him take the lead on this.
Well, thanks. I know you guys have had people on from the Fastener Coalition before, so I don't want to recap too much about what we are or what we're doing, but it is all the associations working together make up the Fastener Industry Coalition. There's a delegate from every association that's sent to be on the board, and this event is what the board came up with to try and see how the industry associations can work together. And I will give credit where credit's due. I remember having, I think it was a lunch or breakfast with Eric Dudas and just shooting, talking about some ideas and shooting things out. And he said, why don't we have a Fastener Summit where we have speakers and so on and so forth, as Eric gets excited doing. And I don't think he even remembered that I noted that, but I brought that idea back to the board, and it really was something they were interested in. And again, folks, you have to realize this is our first attempt doing this, and all the associations together have not tried to pool their resources to put on an event like this. Concept is to try and have speakers and programming that we might not have been able to do individually at our associations. Whether it's trying to get a larger group to come attend or higher end speakers or whatever, the goal is to possibly one day have whether it's a 1 day or 2 day event where you'd have potentially you'd have people from different industries speaking, maybe someone from the truck industry or aerospace or who knows what, and maybe we would be able to afford speakers that our individual smaller associations wouldn't be able to afford. I've always enjoyed going to the Vegas show, but they've not really had a speaker series there. They've left that to different associations would maybe sponsor a speaker, but there's never been a panel of speakers, an all-day event. And the goal will be to improve and get better content every time we do this, should we do this again. So that's kind of the premise. This is something we're hoping the industry will support. We hear from a lot of people they want the groups to work together, maybe not have conflicting programming or events on the same day in different parts of the country. And so we're dipping our toes in the water with this event, but I think it's going to be very good. We had a lot of support early on from Rob Harris at IFI. He helped us get some of the speakers. Bob, I know you have it with you. If you want to just real quickly tell who the speakers are, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it again.
Sure. I have the lineup here. And again, as Marty mentioned, this is a long time coming. This is a great way to demonstrate how all the industry associations can work together. And I know that's always a big comment on all of the surveys, all of the shows, that the industry needs to get together and work together. So this first attempt came together very nicely with the help and the aid of delegates across the country, because that's what the FIC represents. So this is, again, June 7th. It'll follow the close of Fastener Tech. And our first session from 1 to 2, we have the Lauren Baker Group, and then we're calling this Government Relations. And both Marty and I had an opportunity to see these folks early on at an early FIC meeting in Washington. And they're really dynamic. They've been involved in our industry with the government for 40 years. And they've been involved in the past with IFI. They've worked on the Fastener Quality Act. And it's really interesting timing that we have a new Trump administration, and by the time June comes around, that would have been in place for 6 months. It'll be interesting to see if there's anything that this group would be able to tell us about that and how it may affect our industry going forward. So that's from 1 to 2. 2 to 3, we have the Fredonia Group, and I think many of us, including the audience, are familiar with them. They do business surveys across the country. They're a leading international research company, and they regularly provide surveys and insights on U.S. and global markets, especially for fasteners. I may be mistaken, but I think that they might have spoken to the NFDA in the past. Again, this is the kind of speaker that maybe an individual small association on their own would not be able to afford, but by virtue of this being a joint venture and everybody coming together, we have the opportunity to see these groups together at just a nominal cost. And Mario will probably talk about the cost of the event and why it's so cheap in a few seconds here. And when I say cheap, I mean economically cheap. 3 to 4, training for the fastener industry, Rock Valley College Manufacturing Training Center. There's a lot of buzz going on about that, opening in Rockford. They're going to share information about their program. It's a program for training cold headers, something this country desperately needs more of. Skilled workers have gone by the wayside. It's really hard to replace them. With Trump in place, we really hope a lot of that's turning around. And so, again, this is very timely. They're going to talk about operators, tool design, and skills necessary, specifically related to fastener manufacturing. So that'll happen from 3 to 4. And 4:30, I'm sorry, 3 to 4:30. At 4:30, our keynote speaker is Bob Davies. Again, he's a speaker known for his ability to connect with crowds, using humor while teaching them to achieve their goals. His topic for our event will be the 1.2% factor, how a small change leads to large results. And basically, if you have any kind of project sitting on your desk or something coming up, this is a great sales and management seminar to be at and to listen to him. He's going to pack a lot of stuff in an hour and a half. He's also I don't know what they call it exactly, a #1 Amazon bookseller, and a lot of his stuff is available on Amazon. He's got his own website, bobdavies.com. So he's the highlight of the summit, and he'll close it out from 4:30 to 6.
Sounds great.
I think it is a great lineup, and some of the people speaking and the topics that are being addressed are specifically from picking people's brain over the last couple of years. When I mentioned earlier that the concept came from talking to Eric, about this idea of a Fastener Summit. But I've had numerous people. I would ask them, what do you think the coalition should work on? Because we've kind of searched for our purpose and identity, and I'd have different people tell me different things. I want more. Why don't you guys do something with sales training ever? We always get technical training. What about sales training? We think Bob Davies answers a little bit of that. The Rock Valley program, they're putting on a cold heading school. I believe they've already had their first class go through and graduate. So imagine you own $1 million piece of equipment. You don't want to send some young kid in to operate that, but we still need to get young people interested in the trades. And this is helping to bridge that gap. They hope, we hope. So before you let a kid get involved running a machine, you send them to 3 months school, learn how to, program or set up cold heading machine. There's a few other topics that will be covered in that hour and a half. We're asking Fastener Training Institute to update us on some of what they're doing, and I think there'll be a little bit of information in there about the Fastener Education Foundation. I know you guys have had people on, but we'll get some updates on that. I think we've really tried to listen as much as possible to the input from the industry when we put this together. So we hope that people will attend. The cost of attending the Fastener Summit is $150. And what we've also agreed to do is that is for the first person from a company. Anyone after that first person would be able to attend for $100. So we're hoping that some companies send multiple people.
And this event, again, is happening on June 7th. That's a Wednesday following the close of the Fastener Tech show, but the day before the golf outing. So it's a good segue kind of an event, among other things. And congratulations to you, Marty, for spearheading this, because you really carried the ball on it, and Rob Harris gave you a lot of help, as did many others. Bob, you did great work on it as well, and so we're wishing you all well on that. Where do we go to sign up?
Probably the best place to sign up, there is a link right on the Fastener Tech sign-up page. So if you go to Midwest Fastener Association website, you go to sign up for Fastener Tech. Within that sign-up sheet, there is a place to sign up for the Fastener Summit. And if you get confused and have trouble finding, contact me, contact Nancy Rich, and we'll help you through the process.
Now, Bob, you're once again the president of the MWFA. Did I not see an email flying around recently that was announcing some kind of a rebate for MWFA members?
You did see an email like that. Hopefully you saw it a couple times, and we continue to send it out, especially to our members. We believe wholeheartedly in supporting this event. It's going to fill a time slot for us in between our events, and we put it there specifically with the idea that we would hold people. If you're in the industry and you're going to be around for the last day of the show and around for golf, or if you can hang around, this is an event well worth attending. Try to attend a lineup like this on your own. It would be well over $7,000, $8,000, maybe $1,000. But because of our sponsorships, we've been able to get this price way down due to generosity of a bunch of companies. And the Midwest Fastener Association further decided that it would sponsor all of its members for the first person of each company to the tune of $50. So, in effect, we're making the price $100 for every MWFA member company employee, no matter how many go. And that rebate will happen just for one person from each company, but we have sent that out, and we've been email blasting it out, so I appreciate you mentioning that also on the air.
Well, how's that for non-stick cookware, everybody?
Well, a great deal.
Get out there to the MWFA website, or you can go to Fastener Tech or the Fastener Industry Coalition. It couldn't be easier. The event, once again, is Wednesday, June 7th. It's happening in concert with Fastener Tech out there in Rosemont, Illinois, June 5th through the 7th.
Eric, one last thing real quickly I want to add. Every association from across the country, including national associations, have contributed money to get this thing kicked off. Every single association participated. And then we are still looking for sponsors to help with the cost. We've got a handful of sponsors that have stepped up. If you would be so kind as to let Bob read that list real quickly. I'm letting him get practice because he's actually going to be the MC at the event, so I want him to keep practicing. Bob, can you real quickly let them know who our current sponsors are?
Yeah, sure. We go through the list here. These very generous companies and sponsors. Again, the reason why the cost is so low, in addition to all of our member associations who contributed. But from a company standpoint, we have Central Wire, Distributor Link Magazine, International Fasteners, J&M Plating, Lindstrom, RL English, Star Stainless Screw, Trey McHill Fastener, Emerald Exhibition is sponsoring lunch for the summit, Solution Industries, Brighton Best International, and Rick Rudolph Associates to date.
Wow, it's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah, it's very kind of people to step up.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of opportunity. We have a lot of big companies in our industry that regularly advertise, and this is a great opportunity for them to truly be part of something that is an all-industry event.
Yep, that's right.
Well, thanks, guys, for filling us in on that. We wish you all the success on this. Yeah. And, again, it's the maiden voyage, so, you'll probably learn a few things, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty successful, as will Fastener Tech. We've been talking with Bob Baer of Abbott Interfast and MWFA, and Marty Nolan with RL English. Thanks again, guys, for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having us. And that was not written down. That's just from the heart.
Thank you, guys.
Written down? Okay.
Thanks again. Always a pleasure to be on the show, and very generous of you guys to invite us on to talk about this. So,
and we'll be right back with more Fully Threaded Radio.
Fastener Talk Radio. It's like feng shui for the fastener industry. Brian and Eric. Fully Threaded Radio.
Fastener friends, if you're looking to celebrate a big sale, or if you just want to unwind after a tough day on the job, do it with the golden brown goodness of Old Rusty Bolt beer. It is the finest tasting beer in the Fastener world because Old Rusty Bolt beer is brewed specifically to satisfy the palates of Fastener folks everywhere. That name again, Old Rusty Bolt beer. An Old Rusty Bolt added to every bottle to enhance flavoring. Get some today. The preceding message was brought to you by Buckeye Fasteners and Yahoo and Bolt Company, official Fastener show sponsors of Old Rusty Bolt, the preferred beer of traveling salesmen. Tell them Rusty sent you.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industry serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
Fastener Distributors. 3Q Inc. is the best-kept secret for all of your fastener needs. 3Q is the premier sourcing solution for the fastener distribution market. 3Q offers stock and release programs on all special fastener products, from flat washers, lock nuts, cold form specials, to bolts and screws. Looking to add the highest quality line of self-drilling screws? Check out the pull-tight line of serrated self-drilling screws. They bite. Distributors who know of 3Q wonder how they ever operated before without the high level of service and quality support provided by 3Q and their staff. The number 3, the letter Q. 3Q Inc. Quality products, quality service, quality customers. Welcome to 3Q.
This is Gary Plipnick from Fastenal. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I saw a tweet fly by from Link Magazine, which I know you didn't read.
Well, no, you can't know that. I see them fly by. Whether I spend my life in the depths of Twitter world is another matter, but I do see the things that come whizzing by.
Well, you should tweet at least occasionally, so we know that you're not just BSing us with all this lurking talk.
Yeah, I know. I get these. Marty would agree with you, okay?
Anyway, Link Magazine was pointing out that Volt Industrial Plastics is celebrating 25 years in business. There's a link to a short video, which is very nice, and we'd just like to salute our friends at Volt on the occasion and also thank them for being sponsors of the Fastener News Report since almost the very beginning.
Right, yep, that's true. And I noticed they were at the show over in Long Beach too.
And I'm sure we'll see them at Fastener Tech in Rosemont next month.
Yeah. Yep.
We're scheduled to have Volt founder Joe Voltrauer on the podcast in June, Bry.
Oh, okay.
So tune in for that, everybody, and you can catch that along with full coverage of Fastener Tech. And you guessed it, the sponsor of the Fastener News Report today is Volt Industrial Plastics, along with Fastenal. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast and Lindstrom.
Builders of big booths.
Yeah, this year Lindstrom's going to be kind of like our fortress of safety. We're set up right across the aisle from them, so hopefully they'll be a magnet for lots of traffic this year.
Good.
Out there in Vegas.
Yep. Actually, Lynn and I are out in Vegas in like 2 weeks' time. I'm meeting some friends that are flying through from New Zealand. So we're going to especially go out and have a look at this new exhibition space and the hotels and things and check them out to see what they're like.
Oh, cool. I know a lot of people have been asking me about what I think of that facility. Of course, I've never seen it, so you'll have to report back to everybody on that.
I will, because I have no idea anything about it, but I will know in a couple of weeks. So the next podcast will give you a review of it, okay?
Man, the anticipation is building for the June episode.
I know Germans would say gespannt, or we'd say with bated breath.
Perfect. But now it's time for the Fastener News Report with a guy who is so focused on fasteners.
Except when he loses baseball.
Yeah, that's true. He was a little off after the Indians lost. But aside from that.
Yeah, usually. Right. Thanks, Mike.
With news about screws you can use, here's Mike McNulty.
Thanks, Eric and Brian. This is Mike McNulty from Fastener Technology International Magazine, bringing you the Fastener News Report, which is sponsored today by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. At the end of last month, the Cleveland Browns had what may go down as their best day of 2017 when they were able to draft 3 players in the first round of the NFL draft, triple their win total of 2016. On paper, the Browns are looking good today, but since the NFL plays its game on actual football fields, I am still focused on fasteners and ready to deliver today's Fastener News Report. In this episode, we're going to reveal the latest results of the Fastener Distributor Index, also known as the FDI. Also in today's broadcast, we have our top story on the Fastener Hall of Fame and newsmaker headlines from the Auto Bolt Company, Bay Fastening, Research and Markets, Spring Bolt Nut Manufacturing, and Worth Industry North America. On the back page report, we're going to talk about education trends. We'll get to all of that and the latest FDI results right after this.
Whether you need a small or large number of fasteners, there is no reason why you should have to sacrifice quality or service for that matter. Volt Industrial Plastics takes great care with each and every order to ensure you receive a quality fastener in a timely and affordable manner. Our state-of-the-art production equipment allows us to produce any quantity you request quickly and efficiently. And with same-day shipping on nearly 1 million in-stock fasteners, we carry an inventory so you don't have to. Visit us online at voltplastics.com to find out more about our quality American-made products. Volt Industrial Plastics, manufacturer of the finest plastic fasteners in the world.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting fastenal.com today.
Did you know Mexico accounts for 34% of all trade in Latin America? Hi, everybody. It's Lynn Dempsey, here to announce the meeting point for the Latin American fastener industry. It's Mack Brooks Fastener Fair Mexico, which takes place on June 20th and 21st, 2017 in Mexico City. Fastener Fair Mexico attracts manufacturers, distributors, suppliers, and end users from across Latin America's fastest-growing industries. With over 2,000 buyers, more than 200 exhibiting companies from around the world, and a highly informative distributor business development conference, this third edition of the show is set to be the biggest yet. As the leader in worldwide fastener exhibitions, Mack Brooks has pulled out all the stops to provide maximum value for any fastener distributor operating or considering doing business in Latin America. Don't miss Fastener Fair Mexico, June 20th and 21st in Mexico City. For booth space, details, and to register online, log on to www.fastenerfair.com/Mexico. That's fastenerfair.com/Mexico.
Back to the Fastener News Report with Mike McNulty.
In April, the FDI fell down to 50.2 after hitting 60.0 in the previous month. Fastener Distributor Index data is collected and analyzed by the FCH Sourcing Network, the National Fastener Distributors Association, and Baird. The FDI seeks to identify demand, pricing, and outlook trends within the American fastener distribution industry. To get some insights on these somewhat disappointing results, we talked to Dave Manthey, Baird Senior Research Analyst. Hi, Dave. Thanks for joining us on the Fastener News Report.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me, as always.
So, what happened? From 60
well,
to 50.
The FDI for April was a seasonally adjusted 50.2, and that's down quite a bit sequentially from the 60 that you pointed out that we saw in March and 57 in February. But I think it's really important to take a step back and think about what this number is. As a diffusion index, as we've said in the past, when it's greater than 50, it implies expansion or things getting better. When it's below 50, they're getting worse. And I think it's important to look at that progression to say that when you come off of two strong months like that, when things are getting better, and then they're getting better on top of last month's better, right, it's increasingly difficult to continue that streak of things getting better and better and better. So what I would point out is the 50, I would consider it not so much as disappointing news as maybe just a pause, in that the base that we built in February and March and year-to-date actually, it's basically saying we're sustaining that. We're not backsliding to this point, and it implies things are still growing quite nicely. So the old adage is that trees don't grow to the sky, and I think that definitely applies here to the FDI as a diffusion index.
So take a deep breath. It's not as bad as the almost 10-point drop suggests. We're still in the growth range. And also, I think, April had some unique characteristics of fewer working days because of holidays and things like that.
That's true. Yeah, there was the Easter holiday, the Good Friday in there. Some people count it as a selling day, some don't. A number of moving parts. But I think when you look at the trends overall, what we saw in 2016, you remember, was that what we call the sawtooth pattern, just up and down month after month, really no direction. So what that means is respondents were saying, okay, it's getting a little better, and now it's getting a little worse. And now it's getting a little better, it's getting a little worse. So far here in 2017, things have picked up. They got better and a lot better, and now they're being sustained at that good level.
Right. Okay.
And I think that when you look at the indicators that are out there today, that growth that we're seeing, even though if it's a little bit more moderate than we thought it might be, it seems sustainable.
Right. And something that would bolster that would be the forward-looking indicator that you guys have added, the FLI, actually increased versus last month.
It did. It was in April 58.9, and that was a slight uptick from last month. If you remember that index, even though we didn't release it then, but looking back, it increased every month from September of 16 through February of 17. Down a little bit in March, now back up here in April. I think it's important with that number to look at over the past 2 years. The average has been about 52, and that would include a period at the beginning of 16 or even the late 15 where it was good, and then the middle of 16 where it went slightly negative below 50, and now back up and sustainably so. So if you look retroactively, the 61 that we saw in February was the all-time record high that we've seen since 2012. And as we're saying with these diffusion indexes, that you just can't sustain that level of betterness. At some point, it's really, really good, and it's not getting any better, but it's still very good. So, but like you said, Mike, based on the forward-looking indicator that we're seeing right now, that is positive and expansionary, the significant reset that we saw in the FDI, which gives you a little bit of an easier base. And, good end markets here, supportive. I wouldn't be surprised to see a moderate rebound in the FDI next month based on all those indicators we're looking at right now.
Yeah, and then the other thing I noticed that the 6-month outlook from the respondents is still pretty strong, like 97% expect it to be the same or better 6 months from now.
That's right. I think the tone would be considered optimistic, and even if it's not increasingly optimistic, because it's been in that 90% plus range for a number of months now, it's pretty good. And when you look at the comments that we heard, one respondent said their backlog doubled in April. One said it's going to get very busy. And another, and I think this is really, this comment is really important as it relates to this concept of a diffusion index. He said, I rated the activity the same as the previous month. So he checked same, and he said, but it's still considerable growth over last year. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. So the growth is still very good. It's just not accelerating, not getting any better, but staying at a very high level.
Still growing pretty good. Yeah, I looked over the comments too. They were, surprisingly positive or neutral. There was 2 complaints that I saw. Somebody complained about the new Fastener Fair trade show in the USA being announced, and another one complained about healthcare costs. But I guess we could all complain about healthcare costs.
Right,
there are a lot of shows out there, but to me that would suggest that there's a lot of shows that the industry's it's healthy and it's attracting activity. If it wasn't, there would be fewer shows, I think.
Yeah, I think for sure we're getting the sense that there's a bit of renewed optimism out there around the industry. And even if the April growth might have fallen short of the expectations that people had, whether that was coming off of the election or the new year, in a very, very strong February and March, it's just things continue to be pretty good in general. And I really don't think things are rolling over now. It just seems like we're in a period where we're taking a pause that refreshes.
That sounds good. How about the general economic data in the country?
Yeah, so thinking about the U.S. economic indicators, if you think about the ISM from April was 54.8. There too, a diffusion index down for 2 months in a row, off 50, almost 58 in February for them, which is the highest level they've seen since late 2014. Both new orders and production components retrenched a bit following those really strong numbers. Construction spending remains good. Single-family housing up 5% year-on-year, multifamily up 7%. We've mentioned before the one negative as it relates to the manufacturing ecosystem broadly. Manufacturing structure is still down 10% year over year. And I think some of that is just tied to the fact that manufacturing capacity utilization remains in the mid-70s, and we don't need to build incremental capacity at this point, particularly in an environment where the industrial production is either negative or only growing slightly. So industrial production was up 1.5%, and that's after being negative for most of the 2015 to 2016 period. So overall, the regional surveys, GDP was a little bit lackluster in the first quarter at plus 0.7. But, we seem to be at full employment levels. The unemployment rate just 4.5%, which is some of the lowest levels we've seen in 30 years. So I think the trend here we're seeing from that data, along with the respondents to the survey here, are consistent with an economy that's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Now, I know you guys track a lot of different companies, public and private. What are you hearing from your contacts?
Sure. On the private side, through our typical research process at Baird, we get input from hundreds of contacts across many industries. And when you look at the first quarter, many of the contacts that we talked to had very big first quarters, but the second quarter and the 2017 outlook was mostly for growth that was about the same as the first quarter. So I think that goes along with the trend that we've seen here in the FDI. But most of the durable goods manufacturing industries that would have overlap or at least have implications for fasteners inflected higher in the first quarter. Things like metalworking, cutting tools, general industrial, MRO, gas and welding, those sorts of things. So I think the industrial economy, based on that data, is growing. And those are positive indicators. And then from the public company side, we heard from Fastenal regarding their April daily sales. The growth was 8.9%. And if you strip out FX and acquisitions and days and things of that nature, it could have been as high as 9.5%, which is accelerating from the 6-7% range in February and March. So Fastenal seeing some good results. We expect to see double-digit growth there even by the end of this year, which might be a little bit better than what we're hearing on average, but really positive trends there, and that's the most current information we have right now, and it's positive.
Well, sounds pretty good. Sounds like a pretty healthy economy, and we're still growing and looking forward to some more growth.
That seems to be the outlook right now, and again, this is all about expectations, particularly in the public market. So, if things are maybe not growing quite as fast as they were expected to 90 days ago, that's one thing. But I still think we're seeing at least moderate growth across most of the durable goods end markets that we follow, and that seems to be a pretty good environment for the fastener industry broadly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, you're doing a good job on this report, and I like this addition of the forward-looking indicator. Gives a better whole picture of what's going on. So thanks for the work and for the detailed reports that you provide.
My pleasure, Mike. Thanks for having me as always, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks. That was Dave Manthey of Baird. The FDI number for April was 50.2. To be part of the process, visit www.fdisurvey.com. And if you participate, you get the complete report that Dave and his group puts out. Now for today's top story. The National Industrial Fastener and Mill Supply Expo Hall of Fame is seeking nominations for the class of 2017. The Fastener Hall of Fame was established in 1982 to recognize and honor those individuals who have made significant contributions to the betterment of the fastener industry. Individuals are not selected based only on their personal achievements, tenure, or their financial success of their business, but rather by what they did to further the industry as a whole. Inductees are recognized at a special event during the Las Vegas Fastener Show, and they receive a commemorative plaque as well as a $500 donation to the Fastener Industry Scholarship Fund of their choice. To nominate a candidate for the NIF MSE Hall of Fame, visit www.fastenershows.com. Next up, today's Fastener Newsmaker headlines. In acquisitions and expansion news, the Autobot Company purchased a new Ingramatic RP420M automatic thread roller. The Baer Supply Company division of Baer Fastening Systems has expanded its distribution line to include FAR fasteners and tools from Italy. In marketing forecasts, a new report titled Global Aerospace Fasteners, Market Analysis and Trends says that the global aerospace fastener market is poised to grow at an annual rate of 7.9% over the next 10 years to reach almost $11 billion by the year 2025. The report is published by the firm Research and Markets. In personnel news, Tim Malone of Springbolt Nut Manufacturing in Texas has stepped down as president in preparation for his retirement at the end of June 2017 after 38 years of service to the fastener industry, including work at Bolt Manufacturing and Walker Bolt Manufacturing. Tim Malone's partner, Richard Sibley, will be taking the leadership reins for Springbolt Nut Manufacturing, keeping his current and well-earned title of Senior Havoc Manager. And 3 employees for Worth Industry North America, WINA, will take on new roles and positions. Eric Wilk is the new managing director for Worth-owned company Oliver H. Van Horn. Marco Rodriguez will take over as director of key accounts for WINA. And Victor Campos is the new general manager for Worth Industry de Mexico. You can get details on all these stories and more in Fastener Technology International Magazine and its companion publication, the Fastener News Report newsletter, available in print, PDF, and flipbook editions. Finally, let's turn to the back page to talk about education trends. When I was growing up, there was a lot of talk about the 3 R's of education: reading, writing, and arithmetic. Regardless of the fact that the slogan encourages sloppy speech, we were taught that mastery of these 3 was the foundation to success in any area of study or any vocation. Today we hear more about STEM education than the old-fashioned 3 R's. Science, technology, engineering, and math are now touted as the key to success and happiness at all education levels and for people of all ranges of talent and interests. This, of course, is foolish and makes me think of 2 teaching moments from my past. One when my high school history teacher chastised me on the importance of reading about the past, my least favorite subject at the time, to prevent repeated disasters in future. And 2, my college English professor telling me that unless I could write clearly something that I hated, then no one would ever care or know how much I knew about mechanical engineering, my undergraduate major. So, if we focus too much on STEM and ignore the basics like reading about the past and writing persuasively, not to mention admiring good art, debate, philosophy, and theology, then we run the risk of blindly embracing political campaigns that promote socialism while forgetting the horrors of the 20th century, and we get activists marching in the streets of Washington, D.C., protesting a fictitious war against science. And finally, we have a somewhat likable PBS character from the 1990s, Bill Nye the Science Guy, turning into Bill Nye the Science Nazi, and all knowledge of the actual scientific method is lost in the process. This has been Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International, bringing you the Fastener News Report. Please send your news, pictures, comments, corrections, or complaints to me at mcnulty@fastenertech.com.
Don't bail now. Up next, it's a gnarly segment with Chris and Ryan McCaffrey of R&D Fasteners. It's fully threaded. When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Searching for a quality supplier of cold form parts in the new year? Then you should give my friends at 3Q a call. Hi everyone, it's Brian Musker, and if you're a distributor handling shoulder bolts, double end studs, weld studs, knurled bolts, or other cold form threaded fasteners, then the people at 3Q will provide you the highest quality products with an outstanding customer service. Also specialising in SEMS washers, double coil lock washers, sheet metal screws and other specials, 3Q has been building its reputation as a specialty fastener distributor since 2008. Check 3Q online, then give them a call today. www.3q-inc.com. That's the number 3, letter Q-inc.com. 3Q, quality service for quality customers.
I need 5,000 3/4 10 by 9 and 3/4 grade 8 zinc yellow tap bolts right away, but they're not a standard size.
Solution Man, Ken. I carry a wide variety of sizes and I can quickly cut them to any length. See Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
Using your bare hands?
I do use a saw on smaller parts, actually.
Well, hi, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute, coming to you from the Carver Fact Center in San Diego and the Fastener Training Institute. This past week, the Fastener Training Institute conducted an amazingly great program on hydrogen embrittlement in Wixom, Michigan, near Detroit. Salim Brahimi and myself put the program on with some help from Lawrence Klaus at a facility he set up for EOT fasteners. It was a very good program, well attended, hands-on, 2.5 days. So out of that program, I made a list of 10 things that are the absolute minimum you should know about hydrogen embrittlement if you're involved in fasteners. When we return, I'll tell you about them in a sort of rapid-fire fashion. So get out a pencil and write this stuff down. We'll be back in a minute.
Thanks, Carmen. This is Joe Morris with the Fastener Training Institute. Summer may be approaching, but don't take time off from investing in yourself or in your employees. It is a great time for fastener training. On May 9th in Los Angeles, California, we are hosting Fastener Secondary Process Plant Tours. During the day, we will tour ND Industries, penetrate metal processing, and sonic plating. Although this is a required class for obtaining your CFS certification, anybody may join us, and we certainly hope you do. This class will give you valuable knowledge in the critical secondary processes that complete fastener manufacturing of parts. On June 5th in Chicago, join us at Fastener Tech for Why Fasteners Fail. This is a full-day workshop instructed by industry leader Lawrence Klaus. Using real-world examples of fastener failures, this workshop will explore how threaded fasteners are supposed to function and why they fail. This workshop is designed for anyone, new or well-established in the industry. Then, FTI's monthly webinar series continues to explore fastener failures with Carmen Vertullo instructing a 2-part series on fastener failure investigation. The consequences of a fastener failure can be absolutely devastating to everyone involved. Poor processing of fastener failure can add to the problem by costing your company thousands of dollars and lost customers. Proper processing can help you save money and keep your customers. We will offer part 1 on May 19th and part 2 on June 23rd. Our webinar schedule for the remainder of 2017 is posted on our website. We are always looking for webinar sponsors, so please look at the schedule and consider this way to support FTI and Fastener Training. For more information about our classes, please visit our website at www.fastenertraining.org. Now back to Carmen for our Fastener Training Minute.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo with the rest of the Fastener Training Minute. It's going to be more than a minute. It's going to be fast. Today we're talking about hydrogen embrittlement, specifically internal hydrogen embrittlement, the kind that occurs when we plate high hardness fasteners. So I'm going to tell you 10 things. They're not all technical and not a lot of detail. So here we go. Number 1, fasteners above a hardness of Rockwell 39C are susceptible to hydrogen embrittlement. Number 2, zinc electroplating is the main coating to be aware of, but there are other processes that provide the source of hydrogen that is needed. There are 3 must-have components for hydrogen embrittlement to occur. This is number 3. The high hardness of the parts, a source of hydrogen, and a high load, that is, the fastener must be tightened down. Number 4, the signs of a hydrogen embrittlement failure are a delayed failure, that is, the fastener does not fail immediately upon installation, it takes a little bit of time, and a brittle fracture surface. I also see 2 other common threads in hydrogen embrittlement failures. One of them is no or poor quality management system in place, and the end user says, we've been doing this for years and never had a problem. Number 5, a prevention strategy is to bake after plating and to test after baking. Some specifications require it. Number 6, there are some excellent technical resources that you should have, one of which is Salim Brahimi's paper, Fundamentals of Hydrogen Embrittlement in Steel Fasteners. That's free at the IFI website. That's the Industrial Fasteners Institute website. And 2 articles that I recently did for Link magazine, one on baking and one on failure analysis. Number 7, you must get some training in hydrogen embrittlement. The Fastener Training Institute offers training, and the Carver Fact Center here in San Diego offers hydrogen embrittlement training. Number 8, you must have a comprehensive hydrogen embrittlement risk management strategy. Number 9, get some help. Even if you have a good strategy, get another set of eyeballs on it, and I can help you with that. And finally, number 10, be prepared when this occurs. Don't have a hydrogen embrittlement failure suddenly appear and not be prepared to deal with it. One way that we get prepared, again, is we get some training. Well, that is the absolute least you must know about hydrogen embrittlement. Each one of those 10 things is probably worth a couple of hours of discussion. So contact me at the Carver Fact Center or contact the Fastener Training Institute and get prepared to deal with the hydrogen embrittlement issue. This has been Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute. Thank you for listening.
This is Leo Core, editor of Distributors Link magazine, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you. Hey, Brian, we frequently refer to the Pac West as the grooviest of all the fastener associations.
Well, you may do that, okay.
Well, that might be true.
And they might do that to themselves as well.
I would hope it's catching on a little bit. They're, I think, entitled to that moniker. Well, with that in mind, we've got 2 of the grooviest guys from the Pac West. Joining us now, it's Chris and Ryan McCaffrey. They're with R&D Fasteners. Hey, guys, welcome to Fully Threaded.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Well, it's great to finally have you on. It took us a little while to set this thing up. I mean, you guys are pretty high energy. Everybody knows you out there on the West Coast for sure, and we'll talk about your geographic activity, your business a little bit in a second here. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy getting to know you a little bit while we talk here. But it was great to see you out in Long Beach at the Pac West NFDA event a couple weeks back. I'm glad we were able to arrange this discussion.
Yeah, that was a good event, man. Well attended and a lot of energy
And it was great to get a really good representation from the NFDA as well. It was a blast. We had a great time.
Well, the people attending like us who fly in sort of occasionally, it was a good show for us too. I mean, we met a lot of people we haven't seen for a while, and I just like some of the things, the good mixture between NFDA and the Pac West. They have little things they specialize in, both of them together make a pretty good show.
Yeah, absolutely. We covered that pretty extensively on episode 115. Folks, by the way, that was Chris. That was his voice. The next voice you'll hear is Ryan. Chris is the one with the white beard.
Okay.
I had someone ask me the other day, is the beard, how long have you had the beard? Is that your thing, or what's going on there? You know, I get questioned about the beard quite often.
Yeah, now, would you consider yourself, be honest now, are you a Fastener hipster, or are you a little bit too old to be a hipster, or how's that work?
Well, I'm a Gen Xer, okay, but I would not call myself a hipster. I employ a couple of hipsters. I think I kind of predate the hipster. Maybe the original hipster is what you want to call it.
Right. That whole look, it predates the hipster phenomenon. I pretty much saw that one coming. Now, of course, Ryan, you're bearded as well, but a little bit less of the ZZ Top look happening there.
Yeah, Chris and I get confused for each other, I think, probably a fair amount. And in earlier years, it was probably a little more understanding. Today, you can really figure out who's who based on the amount of gray, although I am starting to catch up to him a little bit. But, yeah, my beard's generally a little shorter and not quite as gray.
I'm not even going to mention. I'm not going to say a thing there.
Yeah, Brian's a member of the very, very light brown hair club as well, so no worries.
Yeah, I used to be light brown for a very long time. Then it got really light brown, okay?
Well, hey, Eric, I think I saw a little white coming in with you when you were out in California. So.
It's happening, you know. It's happening.
Once one pops up, you can't stop it.
No, that's the problem.
Hey, guys, we're going to talk about, I think, several different things, but before we get on that whole bandwagon, why don't you give us a thumbnail of R&D? You're operating out of Rancho Cucamonga, California. You're a manufacturing concern primarily. You've got a pretty interesting footprint in the industry. Give us the thumbnail on what R&D is all about.
Sure, this is Chris. Thanks for asking. You know, we're a small business, privately owned in Southern California, Rancho Cucamonga. We're nestled right at the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. It's about halfway between Los Angeles and Palm Springs. So we're in the perfect little spot. We really like it here. But what R&D does is we're a hot forging house and a CNC machining house, and we really specialize in standards and specials. Our main markets are military shipyards, anything energy, waterworks, and construction. And, if someone needs a critical high-temp fastener and they need it quick and they need it right, we usually get the phone call.
And what markets are you selling into geographically? I know you've got some reps working for you in the Midwest, but I'm not really sure beyond that what you got going.
Well, I'll tell you, about 80% of what R&D manufactures goes east. So we primarily service the East Coast from the north all the way down to the south, and then quite a bit of the Gulf states. So our two largest markets are military shipyards, and then all across the energy sector, from petrochemical to natural gas, oil drilling, offshore subsea, refinery, nuclear waste, all that kind of stuff.
So given the fact you're in the West Coast, how did you get into really specializing in, I guess, construction, shipyards, which are really all on the East Coast?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. So when you talk about shipyards, well, we do have a fairly large one in San Diego, and that does account for a fair amount of that business as well. But the East Coast shipyards and the product that the Navy buys, it's a little bit twofold. So one, it's high nickel materials, and that's a little more pricey. And the approvals you have to really be in the shipyards heavy with the level 1 sub-safe approvals and things like that really make geography not that important. As opposed to counter to that is if you're talking about commercial construction, high-rise buildings, bridges, things like that. Of course, that that's a little lower cost, a little more competitive, so it becomes a bit more geographic because that is a little harder to travel.
Right, that's sort of interesting.
One of our largest competitive edges being on the West Coast and servicing the East Coast is we have a little more time in the day to service our customers. Our customers will call us in the afternoon for a part that has to be manufactured from scratch. It's going to involve heat treating, testing, sometimes other secondary processes like outside processes like plating or self-locking. And if a customer calls me at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast, it's 12 noon here, and I've got time to get the bar out of my inventory, which we have a very large raw material inventory of nickel. I grab that, I can cut it, get it headed and off to heat treat, or possibly heat treat it in-house and ship a real critical fastener in just a couple of days, if not shorter. And that helps us really build relationships with our customers to where we use that geographical space as an advantage for us. And our customers definitely take advantage of it as well.
Yeah, having the little experience I have in that, the construction part of that industry is that if you need something made out of one of the very fancy materials quickly, and it could be that you have a ship disabled because you've got one single nut that needs to be replaced, the costs are very high for the military and the need to keep them going in a hurry is great.
That's exactly right. Or you could have a power plant, sitting on the East Coast that has a float valve or something go down, and they need some specialty sockets, and they need them today because they've got 1 million customers that are out of power. And at that point, price isn't really the issue. It's who can get it there the quickest and correctly.
Yeah, correctly. That's true. Okay, interesting market, actually.
Yeah. We really work as close to the East Coast time as we can because of that. And I think one of the most common things I hear is, wow, you guys are in already? We pretty much start working the 6 o'clock hour on the West Coast. So there's not a huge delay if you're in the Central or Eastern time zones for, getting a hold of us.
Yeah, well, that's really, I guess, a pretty good competitive advantage, but it's not very California.
No, I know.
I guess that gives you a leg up, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, we have a lot of fun in California as well. I mean, there's plenty here, but the work ethic has to match that of your industry. So we match and mirror, my friend.
Well, that's a good way to be, and I think you're probably doing a pretty good job of that because, let's just say it this way, the word gets out. However, I will add that when we were trying to set this call up, Chris, I was calling you yesterday afternoon, and I finally did catch you. You were out there on the links.
Yes, I was.
So you're doing a good job of balancing everything up. But no, I know you're at a charity event of some kind, which is, that's very fastener industry, right?
Yeah, well, our owner is heavily involved in the local YMCA. And so this was a YMCA fundraiser, and we're really fortunate that many of our suppliers and customers jump into that. So although it was not a fastener industry event, I was able to rub elbows with a lot of industry colleagues that are just out to support and help the YMCA, which is an incredible organization, nationwide.
Yep.
Right on.
Yeah, when we were talking on the cell phone, I was getting ready to tee off on a beautiful hole, the 14th, and so I had to hand the cell phone over to someone. I hope you heard the club hit the base of the ball very clearly there as I smacked it about 300 yards down the middle.
Oh, it was dramatic. I could tell. Yeah, it had just that timber. Yeah, you were on the green, man.
Yeah, that's not true, but my golf game's not there. Anyone who listens to this podcast on the East Coast knows well that I go out there and shank it. I'm not quite the golfer.
Good, at least you're honest. See, I am honest too. I don't even class that as a game I even know anything about.
Well, you got other things going on. But speaking back again about that event in Long Beach, the Pac West and NFDA event, they had a owners conference and a managers conference, and we did what you guys did. We each went to one of those conferences, and so I guess both of us were joined up in there. And Ryan, you were actually sitting at my table, And I could tell you're, even though you're a fun-loving guy, you're also a pretty serious-minded guy. One of the things that Brian and I constantly are amazed at, and since you're in manufacturing, you're probably pretty good guys to opine on this, is the general lack of interest in the fastener industry, at least among people that we talk to, with the oncoming, or let's say the oncoming advent of additive manufacturing, 3D printing. Especially as more metal products are being made. And give us your opinion on that. I mean, it's not viewed as a potentially disruptive technology by a lot of people, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we probably had a little bit of this conversation at the event, but I think the 3D printing in the fastener world is, I think it is going to be a disruptive technology at some point. I don't think it's there yet, and you're starting to see a little bit of metal involved in 3D printing. So for us, I think the types of products R&D manufacturers, I think 3D printing is a ways away, but it's something we'll watch, like any technology in manufacturing. But yeah, I think if you're talking in the obviously in that plastic world, that it's got to be there as disruptive already, and something you have to be paying attention to. In the metal world, I wouldn't say it's not going to come, but I think it's a ways away for the types of products we make and the expectations with the quality of the material, the applications they go in. There's so much around grain size and grain flow and microstructure that I think 3D printing of metal is a ways away. But believe me, we'll watch it and pay attention to it and see where it goes.
I mean, if you go out 10 years, just say, no, where we are now, you're right. There's a lot of work has to be done. But if you, I remember a time, it was probably, I don't know, may have been, it was 10 years back, but there was a time when there were 4 destroyers disabled in the Pacific at the same time, same breakage, okay? And it was a I'd say labeled, actually I'd say misproduced actually, bolt. It was made out of the wrong material and labeled and stamped with one stamp. That's very expensive. You've got 4 destroyers. That's, $80 million worth of product sitting dead in the water. So for these people, even the Navy, it's of some use to them to think maybe we can print something on a boat. We can have a printer on a boat. I mean, some of this technology is going to get there because it's going to be, the costs of not having it are going to be too high. This is not the same as building to manufacturing, but this is repair. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the technology is going to evolve out of need. I think going back to that owners forum, there was just a lot of talk about speed of manufacture and lead times and all those things. And that demand drives technology and drives, process. So I see different types of technologies coming. Don't know what they are, but, that's one of the things we talk about internally a lot is, what's going to disrupt our market, our customer base, our manufacturing process. And, you got to try to keep an eye out for that. Right. And the question is, I guess the manufacturers or distributors who sort of sit watching the wave will be the ones who will be a part of it. And, because when it finally becomes viable, someone's got to provide these things to the guy who wants to get the bolts. I mean, it's going to be maybe the role of the distributor or manufacturer changes, but someone has got to have the drawings to produce these things.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you're also going to have many, when you talk military shipyards, you're going to have manufacturing procedures rewritten, standards rewritten, just for a new manufacturing process. So there would be a lot of work that would have to be done before the parts that's manufactured that way actually went into the marketplace, and that would give us some leading indicators as a manufacturer of what's coming down the line. Right.
So with this in mind, bear in mind that Boeing has just let a contract to produce titanium struts for the 787 to be 3D printed by a Norwegian company. And the FAA and the FAA.
Get on that plane?
Yeah, I do.
Be the first one.
Well, with the FAA has to certify it, okay?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, let's just fast forward like 5-10 years or whatever it might be and say that the equipment and the chemistry and the technology is out there and it's proliferating. And it's not like there's not enough pressure on the distribution model already without something like this coming down the pike. But let's face it, it is coming. So I could see a time when guys like yourselves, you might almost turn into, or part of your business might turn into almost like a service bureau type of a thing. You know, where customers, maybe they're sending you CAD files, their drawings of parts, and they spec them out for you, and you just burn them out until the day comes when the technology is so acquirable, the prices come down that, it's just like what happened with color printing. You know, the service bureaus, now everyone's got one on their desktop, something along those lines.
Yeah, you can see that. And, and so you take that and you grow or you change with the business cycle and the technology. And, I think that's kind of business 101 across the board, that you have to evolve and change with the marketplace, regardless of what it is. And, always figure out a way to carve out your niche. So, there's going to be changes come down, and we'll have to be flexible and agile and roll with it. And, we now see a lot of customers, just with the availability of CNC machines and that technology, we see a lot of customers bringing those machines into their shops and doing some of the things that they would have had to go to either us or another CNC shop to do. And, so you see that coming now. And, we have to be aware of that and work to it. And there's still always a market niche that we can have and carve out, and a way we can service those customers. And, we've got a lot of customers that have some ability to machine, and we still have a lot of business with them, and it, things work well. So yeah, I think 10, 20 years down the road, I think all of our businesses are going to look a lot different if we are still in business. And you stay in business by being aware of what's going on and changing and adapting and just being active in the marketplace. So, I mean, you can think back 20 years and there's a lot of industries, a lot of businesses that are gone. And we can see tons of examples in the technology world, especially where business models are gone, and the companies who adapt and change with it are around, and the companies that don't, they're no longer around. So, something you got to be paying attention to and being on the kind of cutting edge with and see where it takes you.
Yeah, I mentioned pressures on the current distribution model. I was having a conversation with one of the managers over there at Emerald Expositions recently. They're the new owners of the Vegas show, and they're doing some pretty deep research into the market. And she threw out a stat. I don't know where she got it. She seemed pretty confident in it, but she said the North American fastener business right now, only 30% of the product goes through distribution. I was kind of surprised by that number.
Yeah, I'd be surprised by that number as well. I think in our kind of segment of the fastener business, I just think it was much higher than that.
Yeah.
I think, we are out here in California where aerospace is dominant.
Mm-hmm.
That's another little segment people are usually shocked we don't participate in, is the aerospace world, but it has its requirements and niches too that, we don't play in that world. So, but out here you do see that the majority of the aerospace manufacturers, there's a good chunk of that market goes direct. And I think if you include, some of those markets, you might get closer to that. But yeah, I'd be surprised at the 30% number too. So I would say, especially for R&D, where, 95+% of all of our business goes through distributors. So we definitely focus in on that distributor market.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I was wondering. Okay. Speaking of, I guess that might have answered part of my question, but speaking of Pac West, that's more of just a fastener organization, right? In other words, you don't have to be a distributor necessarily. Like the NFDA is more geared towards distributors versus Pac West or even MWFA, some of the other regionals.
Yeah, our focus at Pac West, at the Pacific West Fastener Association, is definitely fastener distributors. That is our goal. In fact, we have a goal as an association and I can't quite remember exactly what the ratio is, but we want to be well over 50% distributor members, and then a manufacturer or a service provider like a plater or a heat treat house or a self-lock or something like that. They're welcome to join, but they join as associate members. So, R&D is an associate member to PacWest, as well as the NFDA, because we're a manufacturer. But definitely fastener distributors is the goal of growth for PacWest.
Yeah, and the other terminology there, the lingo, is a supplier. You're a supplier to the distributor members. And that's pretty cool, too, because you are the current vice president of the PacWest, aren't you?
That's right. Having a good time with it. I think I'm in year number 2.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, if you had anything to do with the recent meeting, you did a great job, okay?
Well, it's a lot of fun. Vicki and her gang do a really good job administrating the organization, and I have a great time with just the board members that are on there. Kevin Chavez, our president, he goes back with us a long ways, even back to his previous employer from Star, and so he's just a great guy, and it's really my pleasure, honestly, to help him in any way I can. He's a smart dude and does a great job leading our organization.
Now, he's in his second term as president, and when does the officer shift happen? When does everybody scramble and play musical chairs next time?
Well, I think we're looking every year. We rotate a few, so we're actually try to stagger the board members. But this next term in 2018, I think, is when Kevin's term would be up as president. So we'll be putting I don't think he's going to want to go for a third term, as nice of a guy as he is. 9 years in a row. That'd be incredible. So I think it's 2018. But other than that, every year we kind of stagger the board members.
Okay.
Well, it's about time for Russ Doran to be back as president again, anyway. So.
That's right. We'll call Russ. He's got more time now on his hands, so he come right back out and help us out. That's funny.
Yeah, speaking of staggering directors, I saw a few of those out there at the event as well. That was good to see, especially on St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. Great group of people.
So you guys are the consummate California boys, although you do have a pretty strong work ethic, and let's say it this way, there's a lot of folks in California who do, but you have a great rep as fun-loving kinds of guys, and you really, from everything I've heard, you had kind of an interesting experience growing up out there, and you did all of the things that Californians are supposed to do, including flying through the desert at breakneck speeds on motorcycles, shooting high-powered weapons, jumping out of high places, all kinds of things like that.
Yeah, being out in California, everybody already thinks you beat to a different drum, and I think on the work side we'll say we beat to a different drum a little bit too. But growing up in California, we've kind of had that whole, I think action sports and skateboarding and all those things kind of birthed out of California. You get bulk of the motocross seems to be somewhere around California, although there's a few other hot spots in the nation with the Carolinas and things if you follow the supercross events and things like that. But we've got a lot of motorcycle riding hobbies, dirt, street as well, and Chris and I we'll say that we're in our 40s and we still enjoy the skateboarding and some of those types of events, although, maybe we do it with a few more pads on our body these days, but, yeah.
I mean, you got smarter.
Yeah, you do tend to get a little smarter with those things with age, but, being where we're at in Southern California, we've got mountains for even snow skiing, within about an hour and a half and the ocean within about an hour and the desert in about an hour and just about any kind of outdoor fun activity you want to do. We've got pretty close access to, and we've probably had them all as hobbies at one point or another. A few remain constant, and that's motorcycles and skateboards.
We love the Mojave Desert and everything about it. We love the conservation of it. We love to play in it, and so that's a lot of fun on dirt bikes. And outside Ryan and I's front doors, we probably have 15 to 20 high-class, world-class skateboard parks, and we like to spend a lot of time in those as well. That keeps you young. It just never get out of the 80s, man. Go back to the 80s and stay there.
Well, my first skateboards were like in the 70s, and they were a whole lot different than what I see out there these days. Now, make no mistake, it's been many years since I've stepped foot on one in a meaningful way, but God damn, the skateboards that are out there now, some of them are like the size of surfboards. They got all kinds of high-end stuff. I mean, it was pretty basic back then compared to what it is these days.
Yeah, they come in every shape and size, man, for every personality and style of riding. Ryan and I, after riding for a handful of years, we decided we'd design and create our own skateboards. So we designed our own shape, and we called it McCaffrey skates, and just went out there and had fun tearing up our own equipment and handing them out to kids who maybe didn't have the opportunity to buy a board or needed something. We're able to help them out, and so we just love the whole scene out here. Skateboarding really brings people together, and you'd be amazed when you go to the skate parks in California. You see guys into their 50s that have really never stopped riding skateboards from the time they were just kids. This always, once it's in your blood, it doesn't really leave you until you physically can't do it anymore.
Hey, show me a 50-year-old skater, and I'll show you someone who's young at heart. I got what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, God bless you. Funny thing, being in California, though, I always think of it here being a Midwest guy, and we like to rip on California as great of a place as it is, because, let's face it, we're jealous.
Right, because we always have crappy weather, okay, like today.
It's 85 and sunny today. So.
Thank you. I'm really pleased to know that, okay? It's grey and raining here.
Yeah. Hey, as much as you guys might be jealous of our weather, we get jealous of the lower taxes and sometimes better government policies you guys have out there. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, I could see that. What I was going to ask you was, are there really stringent safety laws and stuff? I mean, can you get fined if you're caught at the skate park without a helmet on, for example?
Depends on the park. You got parks out here that are just wide open, unfenced, really just have a set of rules on the sign, but no pad requirements. We have other parks that are privately managed where you have to be a member to actually go in, and those are a lot of fun. And then we have cities that have put up parks, and they watch the rules very closely. It's full pads, and if you get caught even as a parent inside there without pads on, you get a ticket. So you just have to know what the rules are depending on what park you're in. There's no overseeing governing body of it. That kind of goes anti-skateboarding.
Right. Sometimes they overregulate activities. I mean, it could be my favorite activity, fishing. You go to certain places and you can't have a beer while you're out in the boat, which kind of defeats most of the purpose of it, and it's like, I don't know, Some people are really overbearing. So it sounds like you got to know where the party-friendly skate parks are, just like you do with everything else.
Yep, that's right. Now, you mentioned boating. California just passed a law that you have to have a safety boater license now to put your boat in the water. So we've never had that. You've never had to have a license to drive a boat. But starting this year, thank you to California, you will have to have a license to operate a motorboat.
Wow.
That's like any sort of boat. This is not if you're trying to go off the coast. It's just even on a lake.
Even on a lake, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard where other places are doing this, and I think it's happening in Ontario, Canada, but where they're implementing those types of laws, they're usually grandfathering people in. So it's like the younger generation is getting saddled with all this extra stuff. They phase it in.
Yeah. I don't know if we're that bright here in California. Whoa.
Okay.
I think most of
our government isn't that bright.
Yeah, there's generally no lack of regulation in California, that's for sure.
Well, we're going to resist the urge to comment further on it. I think fully threaded listeners who listen to the interview with Andy Cohn will probably find that pretty good. We're going to walk away from that because, boy, there are a lot of things going on right now. I've been watching this whole Oroville Dam thing happen, and oh man.
Yeah, that's something else.
Wouldn't you love to know where they spent all the money that was earmarked to keep that dam functional?
Yeah, we could get into several segments, I'm sure, on Fully Threaded about the California government and their fiscal responsibilities for infrastructure and other such things. But like you said, that's probably best for another time, because it's pretty in depth on where you could go with that.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that you actually have much more of a problem than places like the state of Illinois, which is, basically bankrupt. Okay, it was at $100 billion in debt, and going up. So they're all equally bad. Okay.
Well, there are several states that are in really deep trouble, that's for sure. But at least none that I know of has a situation where like 5 to 8 million are living under the sword of Damocles at the moment. I mean, that is a bona fide disaster waiting to happen, and cross your fingers nothing does. But
yeah.
So guys, then before we get off the RIP California subject, what's your take on the kind of somewhat half-hearted topic of secession for California? I mean, you hear it all. At first, it used to come up just kind of jokingly. Now you actually hear people talking about it seriously.
The old Cal exit is what we're calling it. Cal exit.
Right.
Hey, constitutionally it has a shot at happening, but it's probably statistically impossible. Even if they're going to get a vote, I think, on the next ballot to see if we can put it before the people at the next major election, right? So we're going to get something on our next ballot that says, do you want to vote on Cal exit? And I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. And once that happens, you have to get a certain amount of the vote, and then we vote on it, actually removing ourselves, and we have to get, I think, 50% of it. I don't even know the facts. I think it's 50% of the voter base has to vote. We're never going to get that. And then you have to win that by 50%. And then if we win that, it goes to the states to vote. And I don't know. Do you think the United States of America, state by state, would vote to allow California to exit the union?
No, but I'm not sure. I mean, if you think back 150 years, I'm not sure what the conditions that a state can attempt to secede are, because I think that was what they considered illegal about the southern states. There was no mechanism to secede from the union.
No, there's no constitutional provision for that, and I have to agree with you. I think a lot of people outlying states would definitely say see you bye. But it's not going to happen. I don't see it at all. But here's the other question, though. So at the same time, talk of that secession is swirling around. You've also got another group of people who just want to split the state up into either 2 or 3 separate regions. Do you think that's getting any traction?
No.
I don't think
I like that option better, though.
Yeah. I don't think that they can I believe there's only, well, I could be wrong here. I believe there's only one state that actually has the right to break itself up, which is the state of Texas. And I believe that was the conditions of its entry into the union.
Well, I will tell you that the Cal exit group out here after the recent presidential election, like, quadrupled in their membership, or people who signed up and signed their petition. So it definitely has some legs. We'll see something on the ballot, but I think it'll die there. Unless, our Governor Brown takes us, breaks the state financially, I don't know that anything like that could get through. Maybe if we went bankrupt.
Oh, I think you're a long way from that.
Ask Andy Cohen about that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I hope we can get him back on the show someday after that last conversation. I'm sure we will. Well, this hasn't been very predominantly fastener related. So what would you guys be doing if you weren't in the fastener industry, given all your various interests?
Oh, gee. I don't know, man. They say once you're in the fastener industry, you're in it for life. I was told that when I got my first job by a customer, my first job in the fastener industry, and it's holding to be true. The fastener industry isn't sexy, but it's really good. There's enough business for any company who wants to exist and find a niche and service their customers well. There's going to be market share for them to capture because the industry is just too big. To me, the opportunity here is endless. But if we weren't doing fasteners, I don't know, man. I might be out rescuing dogs or something.
Well, professional skating.
There's always I think the passion like that. And for me, I've been in manufacturing for 25 years, and I couldn't see myself spending, the career time doing anything else other than building something, making something. That's what's fun. And, Fasteners has been great too. So, a lot of hobbies that would be interesting to be able to make a living at, but maybe it's the advice I give my kids that you probably have a lot of passions and a lot of hobbies that you could never make a living at. So make a living at something you're good at as well. And, manufacturing is one of those things for me. So yeah, I don't have any desire to do much else than manufacturing of some kind. So it's where I'd be.
Well, you're lucky you fell into that. I mean, lots of people don't actually find anything they like doing for a lot of their life.
That's right. You got to enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, you've got your heart in this industry. And I'll tell you, when we were at that owners conference over there at the event, that really came through. We were sitting at the same table, and you had a lot of great contributions. I could tell you were thoroughly into it. Don Nowak from Falcon was also at our table, and, of course, John Walkman was the moderator at ours. And I really enjoyed listening to everybody. A lot of smart guys in that room. And it was an excellent opportunity to really percolate on some of the things that are going on. Well, so speaking of questions, we'll wind down with this one. We'll put you on the spot a little bit. What are you seeing out there in the industry? What are you predicting for the next quarter or two, if anything?
The next quarter or two, it's anyone's guess. I've been out on the road quite a bit recently from coast to coast asking that exact question to many of our customers, and we're experiencing and hearing a lot of optimism. That the end of this year, especially when you're talking military-type business, shipbuilding, that 2018 is going to be, a banner year. It's going to be very, very busy. And then also across the energy sector, all sectors of it, people are, waiting for it to swing back around, and it is starting to swing back around a bit, but a lot of optimism out there. So we're gearing up to have a busy next couple of years, even when you're listening to the economists out there talking, growth over the next couple of years. So we're optimistic.
Okay, good. Glad to hear that.
Well, we'll take that. We're speaking with Chris and Ryan McCaffrey. They're with R&D Fasteners operating out of Rancho Cucamonga, California. Folks can get out to their website. That's rdfast.com. They've got a pretty nice site. Tells what they do. Before we let you guys go, Chris, I know you've got some events coming up with Pat West you probably want to shout out. What you guys have going?
Yeah, thank you. So the Pac West has a couple of really great events coming up here this year. Point out our fall conference. It's going to be in Whistler, Canada. So if you're wanting to go north this fall and just be a part of a great event, it's going to be August 23rd through the 26th at Fairmont Chateau in Whistler, Canada. I'll be there, and so if you want to check that out, you can go to pac-west.org, pacwest.org. And another cool thing the Pac West has been doing the last couple of years is we have some events called after-hours events. They're held at breweries up and down the West Coast. The next one coming up is May 25th at Carl Strauss Brewing Company in Anaheim, California. So if you're around May 25th and you want to get, you're close to the Anaheim area, go to pacwest.org and sign up for that. It's a free event, and these events are well attended. We usually get well over between 50 and 100 people that attend, and it's just meant to get people out of the office, get them in a nice environment where you can have some good networking opportunity and conversations. And I'll be out at that event. Ryan and I will be there together, so we'd love to see you. Sounds pretty good.
And we'd expect nothing less from the grooviest of all the fastener associations.
Well, we appreciate you guys thinking of us. We tend to lay low. You said a lot of people know of R&D out there. We've always tried to keep a low profile, but it's good to get our name out and dialogue a little more with the industry. And so we appreciate you guys Fully Threaded giving us an opportunity to chat. Hopefully we didn't embarrass ourselves too much.
Well, you'll soon find out.
Yeah. I think so. You're right.
I think you'll be okay. Chris and Ryan McCaffrey, R&D Fasteners, and it's Fully Threaded Radio. We'll be right back.
Brian and Eric, your online Fastener Talk Radio brothers in thread. Fully Threaded Radio.
What makes Lindstrom a leading specialty fastener master distributor? For years, you've known Lindstrom as the premier name in metric fasteners, with an expanded product line that now includes the largest assortment of fasteners and components of any master distributor. Today, Lindstrom means much more than metric. At Lindstrom, we're focused on a single goal: to bring our distributors the perfect combination of convenience, flexibility, value, and choice, delivered by the most experienced sales team in the industry. For inch or metric fasteners, standard or special, in any finish, all packed to your requirements, turn to Lindstrom, where we have what you need and deliver it the way you want. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded brand of value-added products and services, visit LindstromFastener.com or call a sales representative at 1-800-572-5550. Lindstrom, by any measure.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations, from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
Did you know Mexico accounts for 34% of all trade in Latin America? Hi, everybody. It's Lynn Dempsey, here to announce the meeting point for the Latin American fastener industry. It's Mack Brooks Fastener Fair Mexico, which takes place on June 20th and 21st, 2017, in Mexico City. Fastener Fair Mexico attracts manufacturers, distributors, suppliers, and end users from across Latin America's fastest-growing industries. With over 2,000 buyers, more than 200 exhibiting companies from around the world, and a highly informative distributor business development conference, this third edition of the show is set to be the biggest yet. As the leader in worldwide fastener exhibitions, Mack Brooks has pulled out all the stops to provide maximum value for any fastener distributor operating or considering doing business in Latin America. Don't miss Fastener Fair Mexico, June 20th and 21st in Mexico City. For booth space, details, and to register online, log on to www.fastenerfair.com/Mexico. That's fastenerfair.com/Mexico.
First, there was fire, and man said, "Fire, good." Then there was the wheel, and man said, "Wheel, good." With the invention of the wheel came the need for fasteners, and man loudly exclaimed, "Buckeye, good." Buckeye Fasteners, providing quality products since the dawn of man. The preceding message was brought to you by Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company, proud fastener show sponsors of Old Rusty Bolt Beer, official beer of the Traveling Salesman.
Tell them Grog sent you. Ugh.
This is Rich from Metric and Multi, live at the Midwest Fastener Tech Show, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you to close out another episode of Fully Threaded Radio, everybody. Thanks so much for listening in. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Chris and Ryan. A couple of great guys.
Actually, Chris, I think he was like the chair of the table that I sat with, in Long Beach. Did a great job, and it was a good set of discussions we had.
My first skateboard was a goofy foot.
A what?
A goofy foot. It was like a roller skate fastened to a 2x4, basically. Pretty primitive.
Okay. And that you actually bought that in a shop, did you?
Oh, I don't even remember where it came from, but I had it, and actually had an epic wipeout, and I smashed my head really good. And but instead of getting a helmet, I explained to my mom why I needed a board with urethane wheels, and so I got that. I think that was called a GT, but compared to these things these guys are flying around on these days, it was just a relic. I mean...
Well, yeah, I can't even say that because they hadn't even thought of skateboards when we had bicycles, okay? That was it.
Well, those are two high-energy guys, and I could just imagine them at the skateboard park and beards flying in the wind, and maybe we'll make it out there someday, but only as observers, I got to say.
Oh, yeah, for me, yeah, definitely.
So let's thank Chris and Ryan McCaffrey from R&D Fasteners, also Bob G.Q. Baer of Abbott Interfast and the MWFA, and Marty Nolan of RL English and the Fastener Industry Coalition.
That's right. Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed Carmen Vertullo's exposition on hydrogen embrittlement, everybody. Man, could you imagine what it must be like to spend a day-and-a-half course with Carmen on that subject? I mean,
Well, it'd be like, for you, it'd be like manna from heaven, I would think.
Maybe I'll sign up for the essay contest.
Yeah, maybe. You have to polish up your writing. Well, your writing's pretty good, but, Lynn and Sue, they're pretty fussy, okay?
Yeah. Actually, I don't think I'm allowed to participate. Isn't it something like friends and family and employees of FCH and FTR are ineligible? There's always a catch, man.
Yeah.
Well, good thing we had the Fastener Training Minute today. Mike McNulty and Dave Manthey ran down the Fastener Distributor Index numbers. I thought the analysis was really good because even though the number went down, we're still above the 50 mark, so we still have expansion, just not quite as much. And I really enjoyed Dave explaining how, you can only keep getting better and better and better for so long. And so this is kind of a natural swing, if you want to interpret that way, for this type of diffusion index.
Right. And the other thing is, as we sort of, as my personal view, I'm sure it's not Dave Manthey's view, but my view was that the previous month was a bit of an anomaly. It was a swing sort of swung a little bit too far. I don't think that anyone really thought that the numbers of their sales were mirrored by the great increase in the FDI last month. I think this has brought it a little bit back into realistic territory.
Well, let's just hope that it stays over 50. That's kind of the magic number.
Yeah, right.
The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast and Lindstrom. Stelfast, for service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stelfast. And Lindstrom, by any measure. Fully Threaded is also sponsored by 3Q, Buckeye Fasteners, Fastenal, Fastener Technology International, Fastener Fair Mexico, InSequel Software, the National Industrial Fastener and Mill Supply Expo, ND Industries, The Worth Group, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. Hey, if you've got comments, questions, anything else you want to get off your chest, please reach out to us. The email address is ftr@fullythreaded.com, or you can do so on Twitter. The handle's fullythreaded. We sure do appreciate you telling your friends, acquaintances, and coworkers about the podcast. Word keeps spreading, and it's just a kind of guerrilla marketing tool that we've got going here, but it's more than that. It's really kind of a community the Fully Threaded family is kind of developed into, so we sure do appreciate that. We appreciate you listening every episode.
Right, and just remember, it's a convenient way of passing the time if you've got a long drive, if you're on a flight somewhere. Just as long as you've got your phone and you've got a set of headphones, you can listen to a podcast, catch up on things.
Or if your headphones are good enough when you're mowing the lawn.
Right, mine aren't quite that sort, okay?
It's like the national pastime of rural Northeast Ohio.
What, mowing lawns?
Yeah.
Or listening to podcasts?
Well, I don't know about the podcast, but I swear There's guys out here with like 5 acres. It's like they spend every day after work out there on their tractors. It's just the thing to do here in, I guess you'd call it semi-rural Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, the green belt, okay.
Right. We're like kind of the gateway to the true rural part of the world.
Oh, so Ravenna, gateway to what? Everything's a gateway to something, isn't it?
Everything is. I don't know what Ravenna's a gateway to, but the other direction you got Streetsboro, which their moniker is Gateway to Progress.
Oh, okay. Gateway to the local gym.
Well, that's where the gym is, yeah. I always ask myself, though, you got to be going east or west to hit the Progress. I still haven't really found it.
Okay. Well, when the FDI jumps up again, then you'll be finding the Progress, I guess.
Yeah. One can always hope.
Yeah.
And we hope you'll tune in next time for episode 117. Again, we'll have Mr. Joe Voltrauer joining us. He'll be talking about his 25 years with Volt Industrial Plastics. And that's going to put episode 116 of the program in the can. Bri will see you out here next week for the NCFA Distributor Social. Looking forward to that.
Yes, you will, and so am I. So are we. Okay. So till next time, folks, purvey screws.
Purvey away.
Yeah.
And stay off skateboards, for God's sake, if you're over 40.
Yeah, purvey to your heart's content.
For Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. Get out there, sell some screws, and we'll talk to you next time.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fasteners Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.